Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. Great to be here. Thank you so much for joining me on our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend, getting back to more of our community's questions. Many of you know this is where we answer questions that you've written into the show. Typically, it takes about 6 weeks to get your question answered. The more questions that come in, the longer it takes to answer them, because we answer 6 per day, Saturdays and Sundays, 12 total for the weekend. So love being able to do this. We do this every single weekend, and we have now for 6 years. So we've answered lots of questions. Remember, before you write in for your question, just go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in your keyword. Your keyword could be whatever you want it to be. Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoporosis, migraines. We get questions on zeolite all the time. Anything you want to write in there, feel free to type it in. Your question is possibly and most probably already been answered, but if it hasn't, then write into the show, and I'm happy to take your question as well. All right, so let's open up the document. As you know, I look at the document the very first time is when I open it right now. So the answers I give you are raw. They're right off the top of my mind. And I think they're a good place to just seek another opinion. That's all. All right. So no medical advice can be given. No cures, no disease diagnosis. I think those are the 3 things that I have to give you as a statement. I think I've done that. Now let's get into your questions. All right. First question is from, Abigail. All right. Hi, Dr. Ball. I'm an IHP. I have a client with Down syndrome, 18 years old, female, who is starting to experience symptoms of acute regression. We have done lab testing, are working on correcting root cause imbalances, but I was wondering if you could point me toward any resources, podcasts, websites, etc., to further my education in this area, since I don't know much about acute regression and how to help reverse it naturally. All of this information I've found is more of a conventional perspective. So any insight would be helpful. All right. So Abigail, you're level 2, it looks like. So IHP 2. I just want to make sure if you ever write in that you let me know that you're 2, which means that you do lab testing, because I'm not sure if you are. So we've done it says we've done lab testing. So what your job to do as an IHP level 2 is not to try to treat Down syndrome or treat anything. Your job is to look at, okay, I've run these labs. These are the imbalances in terms of the toxicities. So a lot of people that we worked with Down syndrome sometimes have a lot of gut issues. They have lower levels of B vitamins, and they sometimes have different heavy metals. Sometimes the liver detoxification isn't as great. Sometimes it is. But again, what do? Well, we always look at the individual, no matter who they are. We work with children with autism. We work with people with migraines. We work with people with, like lead, heavy metal toxicity. So whoever it might be, we are looking to say, what is this person's unique imbalances? And your job is to bring up those deficiencies in B vitamins or liver detoxability, and it's to remove the toxicities. That's your job. That is what you're working on, honestly. So we're not looking at treating anything specifically. Your job is to rebalance those imbalances. And then when you've done that, great. Then you might look at a heavy metal toxicity test. You might run a neurotransmitter test. You might run a bacteria and parasite stool test. You can run deeper labs to go deeper levels inside of that onion. All right. So that's what you're doing. Good questions, though. Adrianne is up next. Hey, Doc, thanks for showing up every day to make the world a healthier place. Thanks, Adrianne. That's what I hope to do. My sister-in-law was told by her dermatologist that she has barnacles. She showed me one next to her eye. Google calls it Seb-k, and she says the cause is unknown, and thinking maybe a deficiency or toxicity. Can you shed any light on this? Thanks. All right. For a doctor to say that a person has barnacles is outrageous, in my opinion. I've never heard of such a thing. I just thought that rocks at the beach grew barnacles. It is seborrheic keratosis, not barnacles, right? It's this thing called seborrheic keratosis. We've actually talked about this before. These are non-cancerous skin growths. Let me see if I can type it into That's what Seb-k, by the way, is. Seb-k is short for seborrheic keratosis. I can never pronounce those ones. All right, so let's go to the podcast page. Let's see what podcast episode it was for you. And then I'll still give you a short synopsis, no doubt about it. All right. Seborrheic keratosis, 1913 it was on, 1345. All right, so those are the past shows where I talked about it. I'm still going to give you an answer to your question. So we see this with imbalances in blood sugar, higher levels of inflammation, and often that inflammation is coming from gut-based disturbances, whether it be SIBO, leaky gut that can come from SIBO or candida overgrowth or parasites. And a lot of that inflammation can also come from imbalanced gut. So I would go there, and then I would look at heavy metals. So at the very least, I would run the starter kit. The starter kit is the least expensive and most comprehensive. You can find that at stephencabral.com/labs. Again, if I ever recommend you to my website, it's giving you my referrals to what I use in my practice. If you'd like to work with an integrative health practitioner level 2 in these labs or a local naturopathic doctor, you are welcome to. We're always good with that. My job, just like you said, is just trying to make the world just a little bit healthier. That's all that I'm trying to do and share with you from our practice. So that's what we're going to do for sure. Deficiencies and toxicities. What's going on there? Why are these skin formations being created? Honestly, I've seen it just so much with inflammatory-based conditions and a lot of that blood sugar dysregulation as well. All right, Laura is up next. I would like to ask 2 questions. 1, I recently purchased your Daily Nutritional Support. On the list of ingredients, it says zinc picolinate. According to some studies, it has been found that this form of zinc may cause liver damage. Do you believe this to be true? If so, are you considering changing to another form of zinc? All right, so let's answer your first question. I have seen no qualified studies that show zinc picolinate causes liver damage in any way. And if you actually type in zinc picolinate and liver into Google, well, let's do that right now. Is what you'll find is all sorts of ways in which zinc is actually needed to prevent liver disease. So I'm going to type in zinc picolinate I'll just type in liver damage, see where the relation is. All right. So it shows that a zinc deficiency may manifest in liver disease, skin lesions, like our friend we just spoke about, which is a deficiency. It could lead to issues with liver cirrhosis. Zinc deficiency can lead to oxidative tissue damage, which affects the liver. And hepatitis. Let's see. Zinc picolinate, no significant pathological lesions on the liver or the kidneys. Just giving you the high level here. Zinc picolinate can help prevent and treat conditions such as prostate enlargement, liver disease, and cirrhosis. And I could go on and on. They're all liver, how zinc basically is protective for the liver. However, I always want to say you have a point, okay? I always want to share with you that you have a point. Whenever you overdo nutritional supplements, you can cause issues with the body, just like anything, okay? So I always recommend no more than 50 milligrams a day in total zinc in your nutritional supplement regime, except for maybe a 2 to 3 week period of time where you are dealing with an infection of some type and you need to boost your levels to help out your immune system, okay? So that's like my only exception. That's what I basically share with people. And then you just bring it back down to, I usually use about 35 milligrams to sometimes 50 milligrams a day of zinc. That's the maximum. I'm typically right around 35 to 40 milligrams a day. I take my Daily Nutritional Support, that's 15 milligrams, and then I use my balanced zinc. That's 15 milligrams. I'm at 30. And then if I ever feel myself getting run down, I might take an FM zinc, which has 25. So I'm an hour at 55 milligrams. So, that's how I do it for myself. And it works great. And so I just wanted to share that with you. Again, I'm not here to provide any medical-based advice. That is not within any scope of practice that I claim to be sharing. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. So again, but there are studies on like zinc in particular for people that took 250 milligrams a day, causing nausea, maybe some liver issues, but you shouldn't take 250 milligrams a day. Just like the same studies with vitamin D. Vitamin D causes calcification of the arteries. Sure, yeah, it will. If you're taking 100,000 IUs, right, at a time, it will cause that, but don't do that, right? Take 4,000 IUs, take 2,000 IUs, not 100,000, right? Huge difference. All right. Good question, though. It's a good question. We take all questions. All right. Number 2 is what? I have your book, The Rain Barrel Effect. I enjoyed it. I'm very interested in helping family members with MS. Have you found that going through your cleanses helped reverse the symptoms of MS and cured anyone from this condition? Thank you for your time, Laura. All right. So we don't cure any disease. We don't treat any disease. What we do is the underlying root causes. I've talked about MS many times in the podcast. I would definitely go to stevencabral.com/podcast and type in multiple sclerosis. And you'll see that the underlying root cause of almost all autoimmune issues are gut-based issues, which leads to greater amount of inflammation, which then leads to molecular mimicry or some type of imbalance in the immune system, where we see attacking the person's genetic weak point, right? But people, you have to understand is that you can put MS in remission. You can put lupus in remission. You can put RA in remission. You can put Hashimoto's in remission, right? I used to have rheumatoid arthritis as a teenager. I don't have it anymore. I haven't had it forever. So is it in remission? Sure. It's gone, right? It's gone. So you can call it whatever you want. Call it a cure, call it, a miracle, whatever you want to call it. You have to understand is that everything has a root cause. If not, you'd have MS at a year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, right? You'd have it as a child. You'd have it as a teenager. And you might say, well, it runs in my family. It does. Sure. I believe it 100%, right? But that doesn't mean everyone's going to get it. Just because you have the gene doesn't mean that it's going to express itself. So run the big 5 labs. It's not about doing, again, we offer functional medicine detoxes, not cleanses are a little bit different. I talk about that on the podcast. Laura, you're definitely in the beginning of your journey, which is great. Everybody starts in the beginning. There's no doubt about it. So good. We just, read the Rain Barrel Effect, listen to the podcasts. I would definitely run the big 5 labs, look at the omega-6 levels, fix the gut. I mean, there's work to be done, but the good news is on the end of the work, people are getting better. Okay? Darren's up. Good day, Dr. Brawl. Is there any truth to ghee in Ayurveda as the first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, as doing it will lower cholesterol levels, aid in unblocking clogged arteries by preventing endothelial cells, and getting a daily supply of omega-3s and vitamin E? Or is that overstating its properties? I know it's saturated fat, but are there any concerns with using it? Or who should avoid it, if any? Thanks for your help. Okay, so it's a really great question. In Ayurveda, the way that they did liver cleanses, not liver detoxification. Remember, liver detoxification is different. It is supplying the liver with what we know it needs for functional medicine detox. You can find that at stevencabral.com/detox. Exactly what we do, all the ingredients. And then you can also find a free course that I do on it. And that's at stevencabral.com/courses. Just click on the detox course, completely free to you to check out to learn more about it. Ghee is different. What ghee does is it does help some people with cholesterol and other imbalances because it's been well revered in Ayurvedic medicine to help unclog a lot of the liver bile ducts, help reduce a lot of the cholesterol buildup. And since it has a little bit of that saturated fat, may help the body from producing more of its own cholesterol. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't necessarily have to work for everyone, nor will it. But what I can tell you is this, is that you can try this for 12 to 16 weeks, and then you can run your blood work again. And if it has helped you, and this was the only variable that you really changed, then it works, right? Then it works. So that's what I have to say on that. All right. The next one is from a concerned mother. This one says, I hope this one's okay. I'm a little worried about what it's going to say. We'll see. Dear Dr. Rawl, I've been listening to your show for a while now, and I'm working with one of your health coaches. I'm very happy seeing some changes in my own health. I know my son needs help too, and I'm hoping you can tell us the best way to begin. He's 9 years old and was adopted as an infant. We know his birth mother smoked regularly during pregnancy. He had a regular delivery, but was not breastfed. He's had a few rounds of antibiotics over the years for rashes that turned into infections. He's overweight. None of the other members of our family are, so I wonder if it's genetics that play a role in that. And has recently developed asthma. He has always had a runny nose and gets rashes and hives regularly. Learning disabilities when he was younger, needed occupational therapy for eating and walking. He is still lagging in physical skills and coordination. And will stuff his mouth full and not chew his food well, no matter how much coaching we offer. I sometimes think his senses of fullness may not be functioning well. Every time I go to the doctor for any issues, I end up feeling blamed for his weight, but they don't offer any real helpful advice. Where would you recommend we start in helping him rebalance his body? Thank you so much for all your help. Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, and your points are valid. And it is too bad that sometimes doctors blame you for your children's health or your health. And I was blamed for 2 years by specialists before I found the natural health world from 17 to 19 years old. They told me it was all in my head, told me I was making it up, that I was looking for sympathy, all sorts of terrible things. Anyway. But that's on them, not on me, right? That's not on you either. So you're doing the right thing. So you have to understand is there are 3 main body types: the endomorph, right, that gains weight more easily, the mesomorph, and then there's the ectomorph, which loses weight more easily. So your son, he's 9 years old. What I would say is that he may be doing better with 3 meals a day rather than snacks in between. That's a good first place. And he can still eat carbs with those meals and have good healthy meals. Or he might do well with snacks that are more like almonds or walnuts or some nuts rather than some type of carbohydrate, right? We're assuming there's no processed food in his diet, right? We're assuming that. And then he might be someone that does better with a little bit more just berries, for fruit and some vegetables, some good quality veggies. And that's going to help too. So kind of like looking at overall. And of course, your 9-year-old can work with one of our amazing Equal Life coaches. And I would definitely recommend that. You can go to stevencabral.com/health-coaching for that. Now, there's also a chance that his digestive system has not been working well for a period of time that's leading to a lot of inflammation. Could even be inflammation in his sinuses. So when he closes his mouth to chew his food, he may not even actually be able to breathe that well because he's so inflamed in the sinuses. I used to have that. So you may want to look at that as well. So I would definitely run the starter kit at the very least. It's the least expensive and the most comprehensive. And you can find that at stevencabral.com/labs or a direct link at stevencabral.com/starter-kit. And again, feel free to run that with your coach, whoever you're working with. And I think that would be great. All right. So that's what I would do. That's where I would get started with. There seems to be a neurological component. No doubt about it that he might be low on omega-3s. You might want to do an omega-3 test or just get a little bit more omega-3s in his diet. I think you're doing a great job, and you just keep peeling back the onion, as we say. Look for what the next thing is to work on. The deficiencies and the toxicities is what I would look at next, and that's why I recommend the starter kit. All right, one more question. I know we're getting close on time here for everybody. Try to keep it to our 20 minutes. All right, Simon's up last. Hi, Dr. Paul. I'm wondering if there are any downsides to taking L-glutamine long-term. I've been taking it consistently for the last 5 years or so, ranging from a steady 5 milligrams per day to a larger, less frequent 10 to 15 milligrams on strength training days only. As someone who both exercises frequently and has been trying to heal ongoing IBS gut permeability issues, glutamine seems like a great dual benefit, but I just want to know if there's any long-term downsides. Thanks. Okay, this is a great question. So I can answer this in 2 ways. 5 milligrams per day, I think you're doing fine, honestly. Like I really do. So 5 milligrams over a week is 35 milligrams for the week, right? So let's say you're doing it 3 times a week at 10 milligrams, 1 time 15 milligrams. I think you're fine. That's considered a low-end dose of L-glutamine, I think you're totally fine. They use it in hospitals for burn victims and wasting-based diseases at much, much higher dosages. But we're talking long-term. Now, remember, you naturally get L-glutamine in protein powders, in meat, and in protein. So you're going to get a little bit anyway. So this is not like abnormal. I can tell you, though, how to figure out if you are getting too much if you'd like. Do 5 milligrams every single day for at least a week or two, and then run what's called the mind and mood neurotransmitter test. You can find that at stevencabral.com/labs, stevencabral.com/labs. We don't recommend it often, but it's an amazing lab. And you'll run that. And if your glutamate levels are too high, then you're using too much glutamine and your body is not able to process it well enough, and that's not a good thing. So that lab will definitively tell you, if you've been using it for a couple of weeks and you take the mind and mood neurotransmitter test, it will tell you if you're not able to process that properly. So there you go. Hopefully that was helpful. And I'm okay with 5 milligrams, but again, we have to know what works best for your body. So thanks so much, everyone, for tuning into today's show. I appreciate you. I'm going to be back tomorrow with our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Don't miss it. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show. And before you go, I want to make sure that you know about the absolute best way, guaranteed way, and proven way to take the weight off safely and effectively. So if you've not heard yet about Equalife's Fatlocity system, I cannot recommend it enough. Right now, we are heading into the time of the year where people want to recommit to their goals. And how I look at it is this, that the number one thing that you can do for really long-term health and longevity is to maintain a healthy weight. And that is because extra weight, 20 plus pounds in your body, leads to greater chance for type 2 diabetes, greater chance for heart disease, greater chance for blood pressure and stroke, as well as a greater chance to develop cancer. So my goal is to get people healthier, and losing the weight is one of the fastest ways to do that. That is why we spent 18 months developing the first ever day and night fat loss formula. This is backed by 25 clinical studies with patented ingredients proven to burn more body fat. Plus, it's not just the nutritional supplements. It comes with the phase 1, 2, and 3 nutrition plan that allows you to lose weight at your desired effect. When you look at the actual labels in the ingredients, you will see all of the science that has gone into it. You're going to see things like Capsamax. You're going to see thyroid-based boosters. You're going to see dopamine boosters. You're going to see blood sugar balances. You're going to see estrogen blockers and so much more. The benefit also is that the AM formula boosts energy all day long. And then the PM formula actually helps you to burn fat overnight, as well as get into a deeper sleep while regulating healthy levels of blood sugar. Again, I can't recommend enough, and that is why we are guaranteeing that it works for you. There's literally no risk to you, and we're offering you 20% off on all subscriptions for life right now. That means use it for however long you need it, and you get 20% off each and every month. We price this at the lowest possible price in the first place, and now we're taking off another 20%. And that is because we want more people to be able to achieve their health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging goals. For all of the details, head on over to stevencabral.com/shop or directly to the Fatlocity page at stevencabral.com/Fatlocity, and that's FATLOSSITY.